Welcome YouTubers back to another episode of Beginning Beekeeping. This is week 3 of the beekeeping since I've hived them. And we're going to be adding the second deep today. Now, depending on how your bees are doing and the region, climate that you live in, you might not be adding this deep until maybe week 5. I mentioned in the previous video, you wait till 7 out of 10 of your frames are drawn out. That's when you want to add your second deep. Like I've said before, my bees died last year, all my frames are drawn out, and if you watched the previous week's video, you saw that they had built a burr comb and attached it to the hive top feeder. This was my bottom box. At one point I had switched them for the brood. Now this is what I was saying before. My frames are already drawn out. As you can see, this frame is completely already drawn out, and it's actually full of what was nectar or uncapped honey. As you can see, there's some pulporous bee glue there that wasn't ready to be capped yet. Some of it should have been capped because it didn't granulate, and then some of it actually did granulate into almost like sugar. So this is kind of, I'm guessing from what I can take, pretty much just sugar. As you can see right here, that's capped honey. That's honey that was capped that if this was in the super, I could have tried to extract it. Let's put this back in here. That one was backwards anyways. Let's see if I can find another frame here. It's the same thing. It's packed full of food, and I can't imagine they're going to be able to eat all that. So we're going to sit him down. Pull out this one. There's some capped honey. Not a lot on that one. There was some capped honey, but it broke up. And here you can see this is all capped. This will be a lot for them to eat. Now, I'm OCD, so I label everything. But as I mentioned before, they might not draw out your outside frames. As you can see, this one's only partially drawn out. And like I'd mentioned before, if you put them in, I don't know if you'll be able to see the curve in this. If you put them in too early, they actually warp. If the bees haven't started to draw them out yet, and this one did that. It did exactly that. It warped, and they drew out this side a lot deeper. And then this side was up against the back, and they really want to draw it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one and inspect these, and I'm pretty sure it's just the 2 very outside frames that haven't been drawn out at all, and both of them warped, from what I can tell. Yeah, this one's... Now you can see the wax on the bottom, they actually chew that off for some reason, because you can see it's connected here where the sheet was, but then you can see where they actually chewed it off. And this one was actually drawn out very nicely. Got a drone cell or 2 there, and they packed a little bit of honey or pollen in it. But there was never any brood. That's why it's not dark like that. Now there it's dark because of the pollen. We're going to put that back in there, and we're going to take out frame 1. And we're going to change these sheets, and we're going to take these out and replace these with new sheets, because I still have spares. I might even just replace the frames themselves. And I'm going to set them in the middle, so that or near the middle, so the bees have something to draw out, and they can store their food on the outside. And they'll be able to draw these out for the brood chambers. So I'm going to go ahead and switch them real quick. Alright, we're going to go over this quick here. I just removed the sheet of wax that was in there. Now, like I said, I recommend the plastic ones. My bees didn't have any problem with them drawing them out, and I really liked them. But if you decide to go, well, these are really pliable. If you decide to go with wax ones, make sure you do some research on how to put them together. Back up. I don't know if these are going to work. These sheets are been in the garage here, and it's been awfully warm the last day or 2. It's actually like 90 degrees out today, I think. So the bank sign says anyways in town. Now there's a lot of different kinds of wax sheets. Most of them have wires like these that go across, not up and down, to help sturdy them better. I don't know why these ones don't. They have little holes for you to do that, but I like to put them in here. I'll explain this in a second once I get it in here and get it tight. Alright, here's what I was saying. There's a small groove down here that you set it in, and I like to put it the whole way down, flip it up while holding it, and then attach this piece. This is a separate piece that I stapled here, which if you get these, you'll see there's little instructions with them, but that way it kind of holds a little bit sturdier, in my opinion anyways. So that's one. We're going to do two, like I said. I'm just going to set him back in the box for now. Sorry if you can't hear me too well. I got the fan on behind me. Like I said, it's 91 outside and it's like 150 in the garage here, and it's just hot. So I'm going to try my best to speak over it. And I'm going to go ahead and switch this one, and then we're going to go ahead and get down there. So I'll be right back. Alright. We got the smoker going here a little bit. And we're going to make this a fairly quick inspection. Just give them a couple gentle puffs. I want to make it a fairly quick inspection, because all we're really doing is checking, see where the queen is, making sure they're doing okay, and adding the top. So we're going to bring you over here again, see if we can get a good view. Now, we know better this time to again, I like to give myself a couple puffs all over. We know a little bit better today to make sure that the hive top feeder is not attached. Now, something I did, because I seem to have a problem with ants here, is I took a little bit of cinnamon and powdered the top of this hive top feeder rim here where the bees don't touch it, but the ants seem to be getting to it. That way, the ants don't like cinnamon, that way they stay away from the sugar water, because they can become a pretty nuisance, a pretty good nuisance. So let's get this up just a little bit. I already broke that burr comb, but we're losing smoke, so I'm going to go over here and relight this a little bit better. Smoke going. Like I said, they were building some burr comb in there again, and I'm pretty sure that their sugar water here is getting a little low. I've been refilling that. I've been checking that every couple of days. So we're going to take this off now. And we're sure none of the springs are attached this time. Let's set that off to the side. Oh boy, there's a lot in here now. And it's, like I said, it's hot out. So right now, the smoker is just not cooperating today. So right now there's even a good bit out foraging. So for there to be this many in here, it really says that the hive's doing pretty good. Now in your week 3, you'll be looking for capped brood like we did last week, how we found some. And we're going to do what we did last. Oops, there goes the smoker. Always be careful with your smoker. You don't want to knock it over and start a fire. We're going to take out this outside frame. You can see some sugar water or nectar that they're packing in there. Alright, that's almost an empty frame, so we're going to set that to the side. They make hooks for the side of your boxes to set your frames on. They're very helpful. I just never bought one. I used to have a thing made where I had my beehive, but I moved it, and I never bought the homemade holder. So we're just doing this fairly quick. They're really not drawing this one out too well. It might be. It looks like they're working at it some. As you can see, my smoker ran out on me. I barely smoked these guys. They're really docile. But I'll tell you what, in the middle of summer, when it's hot and all the bees are, they're at the peak of their honey harvesting and everything, that's the last thing you want to do is open this hive up without smoking them. Right. I'm going to bring it over here quick, and you can see, let me find them, I just saw a couple of them here. Right there's one. He's got really golden color, real orangish golden color nectar on his legs, the ones running through there. And I don't see any on this frame, but I want to show you the bee dance. So we're going to put this one back and we're going to keep looking for the queen. The bee dance is how they communicate. And there's a whole scientific thing about it. How many times they vibrate means how the distance, and the direction they vibrate is accompanied by the direction of the sun. Stuff I don't understand, but I mean I understand it, but it takes a lot of reading to explain it all. And there's a really tiny one that's just crawling all over my hands. Real quick, we're going to show you two here, since they're a little agitated. Down here in this corner, them bulbous ones that are sticking out, those are drone cells, and they'll build them around the corners. I don't really see any dancing. There was one when I opened it. They'll build them around the corners, but they'll stop using them closer to winter when the drones are no longer needed or no longer required to go out and try and breed queens. Because they essentially kick the drones out then before winter. And there's the queen. Bright golden thorax to her and her dot, and the dot's starting to crumble off a little bit, it kind of looks like, which isn't really all that great. Means I'll have to be able to find her without the dot if it comes off. I really want to find one that's dancing. Maybe on another day when it's not so hot. But essentially when they dance, what they do is they get right next to the other bees that are foraging, and they'll basically just vibrate their thorax and make circles, telling the other bees where the food's at, how far, and its relation to the sun. Now we got a good bit of brood on this one too. Couple drone cells. So move this. Put this one back. This is something that just makes me laugh every time I see it. All the bees that are just hanging on the edge watching you, looking up and seeing what you're doing. And because of the smoke, they're calmed down. But that's how you tell when they're getting a little antsy, is when they start climbing back on top of the frames like that. So, I'm going to put the camera back on some level ground here. This new tripod is pretty nice. It still makes a lot of noise, but I guess that's the camera itself. We're going to remove a little bit more of this comb here there is, just because I know these bees will probably do the same thing just with the next deep box. When I go to remove a frame from that, I'll be pulling frames out of the bottom one here too. Alright, we're going to push these in a little bit. We're going to slide these back. See, here's where you still need a little bit of smoke. Get down along the edges to help move them bees off the edge of your frames, so you can slide them back together without squashing them. And you're going to lose bees. You're going to set the box down on them. You're going to pinch them between frames. It happens. You can't ever really prevent it. But you want to minimize your risk or your loss. And that's backwards. Now, I'm going to show you what I did here and what I'm going to do in the top frame, or the top box. I put them together tight, but I moved the outside ones in, because as you've seen, the bees are less likely to draw them outside frames out completely. They're also less likely to build out there then, which means they probably won't build a lot of bird comb around the edges, but they will in the middle. If you leave a gap, they will build bird comb. Alright, so if you put them around move them on the outside, they're a little bit less likely to build the comb there. Just like that. We'll make sure it's even. This box is a little off even because I built it without a framing square, which was a mistake. Now, here is a thing I got from Kelly Walters. It was like 18 bucks. That's what this is for. And as you can see, oh, they're already on them. There's my frames, and I put nails through these wire holes to help hold it up and hold it from flying too much to the side. I bought these clamps, and I don't even think I used them the first time I bought them. I put the 2 new frames, 10 and 1 here, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in. So 5 and 6 are now the 2 outside ones, 10 and 1. And I also moved number 2, which was here, in, because it was only half drawn out, and the bees really hadn't worked on it at all, and it wasn't warped. So I figured that would make a good frame for them. And basically, the only reason I really did that is so that because the other frames are full, like I said, they're full of honey. This way they'll have extra frames to draw out to give them some time to work on that, so they're not building so much bird comb on the bottom of the feeder like they did last time, and possibly a little bit this time. Yep, not a lot, but a little bit. And we're going to put this feeder back on, and I'm still feeding them the spring sugar syrup recipe with the amount of honeybee healthy recommended per gallon or quart or whatever it is, because I have not put my supers on yet. So put our cover back up, we'll put our bricks back on. You don't really need 2, you could use 1. I just have 2. And just like that, we now have both boxes on. Or yeah, both deep boxes on. So our next move will be watching, seeing, making sure she's got plenty of brood, keeping an eye, maybe waiting a week or 2 here before I remove that entrance reducer. And then when I do that, and when I stop feeding them, because they got plenty of honey right now, I don't know if they're even going to worry with that sugar water. They might just continue to eat all that sugar and syrup and honey that's inside the frames already. Get them cleaned out so she can move up and lay her brood. But once they start drawing less of that, I'm going to remove that and give them maybe a week or 2, and then I'm going to add my supers and my queen excluder to allow the bees time to draw them out. And we'll post videos about that, and in the description I'm going to put down your details probably for week 3, 4, and 5, up until when you guys will put the deep boxes on, because your inspections are basically all similar. I don't need to post a video for every time I do an inspection. Getting a couple of them coming in with different colored pollen. I'm not really sure what all they come from, because there's dandelions and ragweed out right now, but a lot of them have been coming in with orange pollen, and they're collecting a lot of that from the trees too. There was one with yellow.